March 15, 2025. Trump's master plan, Make America Great Again by Turning Canada into Poland. By Stephanie Larocque. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally have it, Donald J. Trump's real plan to make America great again. Forget infrastructure, forget healthcare, forget actually governing. The solution is much simpler: annex Canada. That's right, folks. In what can only be described as the most stable genius moment of his career, Trump has floated the idea of absorbing Canada into the United States, proving once and for all that when you run out of things to destroy at home, just look north. Because why bother with fixing America when you can just expand it? It worked for Hitler, right? The Sudetenland strategy, a dictator's guide to expansion. Now, let's be fair. Trump isn't reinventing the wheel here. In fact, his Canada takeover plan seems oddly familiar, eerily reminiscent of a certain mustached fellow's 1938 peaceful absorption of the Sudetenland. You know, the one that led to a little thing called World War II? But let's not get bogged down in history. Trump wouldn't, unless it's a Fox News documentary that declares him the best president of all time. So here's the plan. Step 1. Declare Canada a failing state. According to Trump, Canada is weak, socialist, and on the verge of collapse. He'll start throwing around words like liberation and economic rescue, because nothing screams economic stability like having your currency tied to a nation whose last budget surplus was in 2001. Step 2. Blame Trudeau for everything. Much like Poland in 1939, Canada needs to be cast as the problem. Trump will probably claim Trudeau is running death camps for free-range chickens or forcing people into gulags where they must drink oat milk and watch hockey. He'll say Trudeau is a globalist Marxist, which is MAGA speak for guy who wears socks with personality. Step 3. Send peacekeepers. If history tells us anything, annexations don't start with tanks, they start with patriots. Trump will send in a horde of red hat-wearing observers, waving Arkansas 15 seconds and chanting, USA. USA. These fine, self-deputized individuals will ensure the election that makes Canada a U.S. territory goes smoothly. Step 4. Redraw the map. Once the stars and stripes replace the maple leaf, Trump will rename Canada something more fitting, maybe North Dakota 2 or Lesser America. Toronto will become East Milwaukee, and Vancouver will be West Idaho. Quebec? That's now La Florida. Step 5. Bring freedom. Just like Poland in 1939, Canadians will be liberated. No more universal health care, no more gun control, and absolutely no metric system. Miles, pounds, and Fahrenheit will return, forcing Canada into a medieval-style dark age where no one knows how much anything weighs or what temperature it is outside. If you can't fix a country, just conquer another one. This is, of course, the perfect solution to every problem Trump has ever faced. Why address America's crumbling infrastructure when you can just bulldoze Ontario? Why fix the economy when you can just absorb another one? Why worry about democracy when you can manufacture a crisis that requires you to stay in power? And before you say, but Trump wouldn't actually invade Canada, let me remind you, this is the same guy who wanted to buy Greenland. The same guy who suggested nuking hurricanes. The same guy who literally incited an insurrection against his own country. Does annexing Canada sound insane? Absolutely. Does that mean he won't try it? You tell me. So if you're Canadian and you wake up one morning to see Trump's face on your new money, just remember, you're living through a historical rerun. And we all know how those usually end. 1. Franklin D. Roosevelt's Arsenal of Democracy speech. In this fireside chat, President Roosevelt emphasized the importance of supporting allies to preserve democratic ideals globally. He argued that aiding nations fighting tyranny was essential for maintaining democracy at home. 2. Lyndon B. Johnson's The American Promise speech. President Johnson addressed Congress to advocate for voting rights, underscoring the necessity of equality and participation in democracy for all citizens. 3. Ronald Reagan's A Time for Choosing speech. Although delivered before his presidency, Reagan's speech highlighted the critical choice between expanding government control and preserving individual freedoms, a core democratic principle. 4. Barack Obama's remarks at the Democracy Forum. President Obama discussed the challenges facing modern democracies, emphasizing the need to adapt and uphold democratic values amidst changing times. 5. George W. Bush's speech on global democracy and freedom. President Bush argued that the lack of democracy and freedom is not a failure of culture or religion, but of misguided political and economic policies. President Franklin D. Roosevelt referred to Canada as the aerodrome of democracy in recognition of its pivotal role in the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan during World War II. This program trained over 131,500 aircrew from 1939 to 1945, significantly contributing to the Allied war effort.
On both sides of the line, we are so accustomed to the undefended boundary, 3,000 miles long, that we are inclined perhaps to minimize its vast importance, not only to our own continuing relations, but also to the example which it sets to the other nations of the world. May we speed the day when the heads of the Canadian and American nations will see more of each other, not as foreigners, but as neighbors and friends.
It was a very unique time.
And an understated diplomat would become an international hero. 6 Americans had escaped the embassy siege, and despite the risk, Ken Taylor hid them for months.
It's a Canadian triumph.
And it sure was at the time.
It's a great pleasure to present this medal to you on behalf of the American people who are grateful to you and grateful to our neighbor, Canada.
It's a room cluttered with 25,000 letters and posters of thanks from the Americans.
By the time Ken Taylor was named Canada's Consul General to New York, he already had the key to the city, just one of countless honors. And an earlier movie conveyed what that meant to a lot of Canadians.
I have heard some Canadians say that it's part of Canada's historical destiny to be forgotten by the United States.
Oh, yeah.
But never again.
There are many Americans who have kept that promise. At Madison Square Garden just a few months ago,
that is Ambassador Ken Taylor from Canada.
The sight of Ken Taylor in the crowd brought New Yorkers to their feet.
Heroes forever.
Modest about his own role, Taylor has often just pointed to a bond between countries.
U.S. citizens do believe that in Canada they have a special friend.
And in the history of that friendship, Ken Taylor will be remembered for the gratitude of one country and for the pride of the other.
A letter from Canada to the United States of America. Dear people of the United States, I write to you as a neighbor, a friend, and a partner who has stood by your side through countless moments of challenge and triumph. The bond between Canada and the United States is one of the closest and most enduring relationships in modern history. It is rooted not only in shared borders but in shared values, democracy, freedom, and the belief that every nation has the right to determine its own destiny. Together, we have achieved remarkable things. We fought side by side in 2 world wars, defending liberty and justice from tyranny. We worked together to build NORAD, ensuring the security of our continent. Our economies are intricately linked, with trade between us sustaining millions of jobs and livelihoods. We have worked shoulder to tackle global challenges, from peacekeeping missions to disaster relief. And let us not forget the countless ways our citizens connect every day, as family, friends, and allies. This partnership is built on mutual respect and the understanding that democracy is not just a word but a living principle. It stands for the right of every nation, no matter how large or small, to self-determination. It is the belief that true friendship is not about dominance but about equality, trust, and shared purpose. It is with this understanding that I must speak candidly. Recent discussions from some voices within your nation about annexing Canada are not only unfounded but deeply troubling. Such rhetoric undermines the principles we both hold dear and threatens the very fabric of our friendship. To treat a friend in this manner, suggesting they surrender their sovereignty, is not an act of camaraderie but of coercion. If the roles were reversed, I ask you to consider how you would feel. Let me remind you of something your own history teaches so well. Being a leader on the world stage means respecting others' independence and fostering alliances, not breaking them. The world already watches your government with a critical eye. Many nations take issue with how power is wielded in Washington, yet Canada has always remained your steadfast ally, respecting your sovereignty while voicing concerns where needed. So why would you treat a friend differently than you would expect to be treated? Canada has never wavered in our support for the values we share. But let me be clear, while we respect and value our friendship, we will defend our sovereignty with unwavering resolve. We are a nation forged in resilience, built on the principles of democracy and freedom. This is not a plea but a reminder of who we are and who you are. We are two nations that believe in fairness and justice, in lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. Hostility toward Canada would not only harm us but diminish the values you hold dear. Let us move forward not as adversaries but as partners, respecting each other's independence while continuing to work together for the betterment of our people and the world. Let us honor the friendship that has brought us so far and ensure that it endures for generations to come. With respect and hope for our continued partnership, Canada.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the US. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless you, Canada. From the shores of Nova Scotia to the forests in BC, Montreal to Winnipeg, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit we can see her above the USA, 'cause there's pride in every Canadian heart, and it's time you stand and say that I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave
name is Stephanie Larocque, and I live in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Some of my best friends are Americans, and I have always been proud to be your neighbor and your friend. I remember 9/11. When the world stopped, Canada stood with you. We took in your planes when you were too afraid to land them. We housed your people, fed them, comforted them, because that's what friends do. We have always had your back, and we have never once questioned our bond. That's why I can't understand what's happening now. Your president isn't just turning his back on us, he's talking about taking over my country. Why? National security? We already do everything you ask of us. We are your greatest allies, your closest trading partners, your friends, and your family. We are a sovereign nation, and we are proud to be Canadian, just as you are proud to be American. This goes against everything both our nations have ever stood for. I know politics and ethics don't always go hand in hand, but I'm speaking to you, the American people. This isn't just politics, this is wrong. It is unethical, and you can't possibly believe it's okay to do this to another free, democratic nation. Tell your president there are other ways to make America great again. And for the record, I never thought you were so bad to begin with. You're already great. Stephanie.